Hi there, this is Danny B with This Old Car. Boy, do we have a great video for you today. But before I begin, I'd like for you to subscribe to our channel. It really benefits us, and we're so close to 100,000 subscribers. So hit the like button and subscribe if you get a chance. Now let's get on to the video. You know, everyone knows the legends, the Mustangs, the Camaro, the Charger, but what about the muscle cars that got left in the shadows? The ones that packed just as much power but never got the spotlight. Today, I'm counting down the top most underrated muscle cars of all time. Let's fire up the cylinders. At number 10 is the Plymouth Satellite, 1966 through 1970. You know, we've heard of the Roadrunner, the GTX, but the Satellite? It's the quiet sibling of Plymouth's muscle car family. Yes, the Plymouth Satellite. Built on the same B-body platform, the Satellite had all the potential. Big block power, Hemi options, and aggressive lines. The only thing it lacked was hype. While everyone was drooling over the Charger's curves or the Roadrunner's cartoon appeal, the Satellite just did its thing. And that's why collectors love it now. It's a hidden treasure with serious sleeper vibes. At number 9 on the 10 most underrated muscle cars is the Chevy Nova SS 396, 1968 through 1970 run. Don't let the compact label fool you. When Chevy dropped a 396 big block into this lightweight body, they created a street killer. The Nova SS 396 could hold its own against Chevelles and GTOs, even Mopars, but for a fraction of the price and flash. With its minimal chrome and clean lines, it didn't scream muscle. But if you pulled up next to one at a red light, you learned quickly. And yet, in the muscle car history books, the Nova SS barely gets a footnote. I think it's time to change that. At number 8 is the Dodge Dart GTS and Demon 340 with a run date of 1968 through 1973. Now here's a spicy one. The Dart GTS and later the Demon 340 weren't built to win beauty contests. They were built to surprise people. Take a compact Dodge Dart, stuff in a high-revving 340 V8, add bold stripes and a bit of attitude, man, you've got a true street sleeper. The Demon even stirred up controversy for its name, causing Dodge to eventually change it. These cars were fast, affordable, and had one goal: punch above their weight, and they delivered. At number 7 on the 10 most underrated muscle cars of all time is the Pontiac Le Mans Sport, with a run date of 1970 through 1972. The Le Mans Sport was the GTO's twin, minus the badge and minus the price tag. What most people don't realize is that these cars often came with the exact same engine options as the GTO. The only difference was the marketing. GTO was the judge. Le Mans was your uncle's daily driver, but under the hood, identical beasts. Today, a Le Mans can cost half of what a GTO commands, and still lay down rubber with the best of them. Underrated? Absolutely. I remember in the mid-'80s, this guy was going to sell me what he said was a GTO. He had the fake badges and everything on this car, and something told me to do more research. I did, and it was just a Le Mans. But boy, right now I'd like to have that Le Mans. At number 6 on the top 10 most underrated muscle cars is the Ford Torino GT and Cobra Jet. Run dates 1968 through 1971. The Torino doesn't always get invited to the muscle car party, but it should, especially when you're talking about the Cobra Jet versions with 428 or even the 429 SCJ engines. These things could haul. And the fantastic styling pure NASCAR roots. In fact, Ford used the Torino as its base for stock car racing dominance in the late 1960s. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't cute, but the Torino was built to go fast and take no prisoners. At number 5 is the Oldsmobile 442 W30. Run dates 1968 through 1970. Oldsmobile had a rep for luxury, not drag racing, but the 442 W30 changed all that. It came with a massive 455 V8, factory ram air, and the kind of torque that could twist your face off. It also had class, wood grain dash, upscale interior, muscle for the guy who still wore a tie to work. Today, it still gets overshadowed by the Chevelle SS, but the W30 could spank a lot of its GM cousins on the street. Just don't sleep on it. At number 4 on the 10 most underrated muscle cars is the Plymouth GTX. Run date 1967 through 1971. Nicknamed the Gentleman's Hot Rod, the GTX was a strange mix, performance and polish. You could get a 440 Super Commando, or if you had deep pockets, the legendary 426 Hemi. But while the Roadrunner got all the marketing love, the GTX just quietly crushed quarter miles. It was more refined, more powerful, and somehow less remembered. But if you want the muscle car equivalent of a tuxedo with brass knuckles, this is it, the Plymouth GTX. At number 3 is the Mercury Cyclone Spoiler II. Run date 1969. Now we're deep in obscure territory, and we love it here at This Old Car. The Cyclone Spoiler II was built for NASCAR. Think long, sloped nose for aerodynamics, Cobra jet power, and a look that said, "Get out of my way." Only a few hundred were ever made, making them rare today. It was overshadowed by the Dodge Daytona and Plymouth Superbird. But this Ford cousin had the speed, the pedigree, and now finally the respect. Now we are at number 2 on the 10 most underrated muscle cars of all time. This has got to be one of my favorites. At number 2 is the AMC AMX. Run date 1968 through 1970. AMC might not scream muscle to most people, it did me, but the AMX was a true performance car. Short wheelbase, big V8, 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds in 1968. Those are legit numbers, by the way. It had muscle and handling, something most of its rivals couldn't say. And yet, because it wasn't from the big 3, it always sat at the kids' table, so to speak. Today, collectors are finally giving it the attention it always deserved. Yep, the AMC AMX. Love that car. At number 1 on the 10 most underrated muscle cars of all time is the Buick GSX Stage 1. Production date 1970. This is the king of underrated muscle, period. On paper, it doesn't sound like it's a threat. It's a Buick. But under the hood, a 455 Stage 1 V8. Pumping 510 pound-foot of torque. Imagine that. More than the 426 Hemi. This thing did 13s in the quarter mile straight from the showroom. It came in screaming yellow or white with bold stripes, spoilers, and an attitude that said, "I may be a Buick, but I'll smoke you." The GSX Stage 1 is everything great about muscle cars: power, presence, and surprise. Well, there you have it, the 10 most underrated muscle cars of all time. So, which one of these underdogs is your favorite? Did we miss a forgotten monster you think deserves some love? Leave us a comment below and let us know. And hey, if you like this deep dive into forgotten muscle cars, make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more classics, more history, and more horsepower. Until next time, keep your foot on the gas and your heart in the past. This is Danny B with This Old Car. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.